So, before I forget, I wanted to touch on this little gem. For those of you who don't know and didn't see the last video, this is a Harbor Freight HVLP gun. You pick these up on sale when they go on sale for like $10, and they're normally priced at 15 bucks, which is still a bargain if it works. This is the old one, and what happened is there was a seal inside this valve here that actuates the air part of the air gun. This little valve right in here, and it was hanging up, and there was a bad seal in it. So I fixed the seal and got this thing to function properly. But on the other gun, when I took it apart to clean it, this is what I found. I took this little headpiece off, and on this one, this little piece of brass right here, it has a seal behind it. This is steel, this is brass. This is threaded into the brass. This is really super tight in this brass, and then it's never coming out again, and I don't need to take it out. I prefer to take this off here because I can get into here, into that hole in there with a little brush and clean the paint out of it, which is pretty important when you're cleaning a spray gun. When I used that new gun last time, I went to go take this thing apart, and everything about it looks the same. Even this little washer here, it has a parting line. You know, it had a line, right? Like, you see where this little plastic thing goes up against here? And if you put them together, right, it's obvious that there's something in there. Well, the other one had that same look. So I'm trying to take this off, but it wasn't brass, right? Figure, well, they just made them out of aluminum, trying to save a penny per unit, you know? Well, it turns out that this little piece of brass, which I thought was aluminum on the new gun, was actually cast into the part. It was machined. The threads were machined into this, so you couldn't take it off to clean it. So I ended up destroying the body of the gun. Not only that, but everything was different. The dimensions on the needle were different. The internal workings on this valve were different. Even the little holes inside the spray tip, even though it looked the same on the outside, all the little holes on the inside that direct air to do the spray, they were different. And to add insult to injury, I said, well, you know, at least the cups are the same, right? These cups. So I just took the old cup and I put it on the old gun, or the new cup, and I put it on the old gun. And today, I went to go spray some primer, and I mixed up the primer. And you mix the A and the B together, and you gotta leave it sit for a half an hour before you spray, because it needs to activate, right? So I did that, and I filled the cup up, and I went out to go spray my part, and I took and I turned the gun like this to spray down onto my part, and the primer started just pouring out the lid. So I cranked the lid down, and it's still pouring out the lid, and I'm cranking this thing down, and now I'm looking at it, and the lid is all contorted, and it's about ready to pop off, and just paint's pouring, or the primer's just pouring out of the thing. Look, I understand you want to do something to improve your product and make the product better, while saving money in the manufacturing process. That's how the Japanese beat us in the electronics game, and that's how Harbor Freight has been kind of. If you've been a long time customer of Harbor Freight, you've noticed that their products have gotten progressively better, especially their electrical tools. You know, the grinders and stuff like that. They're getting a lot better, you know, comparable to the name brand stuff. But this is garbage. If it's $10, it's a bargain, and I'd continue to buy these all the time. I'm going to take this cup back to Harbor Freight, and I'm going to talk to the manager. Now, one of the things that I usually do when I have a cup system like this, when I have a spray gun like this, is I get liners. And Dave Elvis makes a liner system that goes in. Basically, it's a silicone-free Ziploc bag. You open this thing up, a little plastic bit that goes through the bottom of the bag and secures it to the inside of the cup. And you put your paint inside the bag, and Ziploc it, put it in the bag, put the top on, and the paint is contained in the bag. And as you spray it out, it vacuums all the paint out of the bag. And when you're done, you just take out the bag, throw it away, and that's your cleanup. You run a little lacquer thinner through the gun, and Bob's your uncle. I don't have any of those currently, and I shouldn't have to need it, especially for a $10 gun. So today I had to break out the old standby, the Devil Bliss. They don't even make this anymore. It's a type JGA 502. They stopped making this about 20 years ago. I bought this when I was 18. So I had to get this out, and that's what I sprayed the white with. So I can no longer recommend these. They're garbage. Even if they're $10, they're garbage. Because paint doesn't stay in the cup. This part's fine. This part's garbage. So if you want to get it because this, just understand that you can't take it apart like a regular spray gun. That they've changed some of the processes and the parts aren't interchangeable with the old stuff. But this is garbage. This makes this $10 unit garbage. Just thought you should know.